Hey, what's up, everybody? It's been, I think, a week since we saw you. It's great to see you, as always. So you know what to do. Hit like, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and let's get after it. Hi, hello, and welcome to your favorite Average Good podcast. Call it what you want. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie, Davies, and Tony Meola, and I haven't seen your handsome faces in quite some time. It's been a week. Chuck, you're looking dapper, my friend.
Thank you very much. I'm feeling good. This is a big week. We got the World Cup draw on the horizon. We got, these are interviews popping off left and right with Mauricio Pochettino and Andres Cantor, and there's a lot brewing. So my mood is here, my energy's here.
That's great. And Big Tones, we love you. Great to see you. And obviously wishing the best for you and your family during a difficult time. But love that you're here with us talking the beautiful game.
Yeah, man. Chuck said it. Big week. First of all, thank you. Big week for the sport. We'll also throw in, how about we're going to crown a champion at the end of the weekend, right? In our league. So I know we'll cover that through the week. So, and we've got this draw. I mean, the draw, the draw is so important to the World Cup. Like your World Cup in a lot of ways is made or unmade, if you will, with someone picking up the ball out of a pot, right? So we got a lot to look forward to, man. I'm excited to cover it this week.
Yeah, we got 3 shows for us and our community this week. We'll have one today, one Thursday, and one Friday, and it should be a lot of fun. So as Chuck mentioned, we got Mauricio Pochettino. Just to tease some of the topics today, he challenged some American players, the media, and fans, definitely talking about Chuck in particular. Christian Pulisic doesn't make the cut for U.S. Soccer's Male Player of the Year. We'll get into that, World Cup draw procedures and scenarios as we discuss right now, and a roundup of our players abroad as we do. But first, let's talk about Mauricio Pochettino, Chuck, because I know your energy's high for this one. He went and sat down with Andres Cantor, friend of the show, on Football de Primera. Very beautiful setting, right up against the ocean. Mauricio Pochettino comes out, the sweater over his shoulders, got the shorts on, totally relaxed. I mean, this felt like, hey, Boludos, I know what I'm doing. Pipe down, relax, zip it. I got this all under control. That was the vibe of the interview. And listen, I got plenty of time for it. He's earned it. Very good results against Paraguay and Uruguay. Definitely got the group in probably, I don't want to say in the palm of his hand, but everybody, he's starting to push the right buttons, I think, for the group overall, including the ones that play in Europe that weren't a part of this last camp. But what did you think? What were your overall sentiments when you listened and watched this interview?
Jimmy, que mira, bobo.
Wow.
Coming in hot, Chuck.
No, he basically said the culture was terrible in not so many words, right? He just said guys were too comfortable. The entitlement was through the roof. Everyone thought because they had been in the previous World Cup cycle, had kind of gone through qualifying, had been involved in the World Cup, that their places were guaranteed no matter what. That the experience that they had, where the clubs that they were playing in, they didn't have to show up. They could do what they wanted and move how they felt, and no matter what, they'd be playing next summer. So he said, almost he had to come in and drastically do things to kind of reset the tone and basically say, guys, I'm going to have to play other players, even if they maybe aren't ready yet, to make sure that they start challenging you for your place so that you don't feel settled. Because for the national team, no one should ever feel that their spot is guaranteed. It's all about form. It's what can you do for me now? How do you fit into the team? Are you a part of this team? Are you a part of this group? And if you aren't, we'll find someone else that can do the same job. And I think when you really dial it back, you go, damn, everything was done for a reason throughout his whole reign as the U.S. men's national team coach. So you have to say at this point, job well done. Because it all is justified when you're looking at the most recent results, and you're looking at not only that, the performances of players who were not in the camp. I look at Max Sarfson, Alex Freeman, you could even say Matt Freese, who have Malik Tillman, who have come in and now have challenged and disrupted what many thought, who were starters in the end.
All right, so here's the quote And I'm glad you brought up the entitlement thing. It was a big point of the conversation with Andres Cantor. This is a direct quote, Mauricio Pochettino. He says, the thing is, the idea had already taken hold here that certain players had their positions assigned. So when you listen to interviews and what the media says, that's he's pointing at you, Chuck. And they say, no, I would like to play with so-and-so. I'm preparing. I'm going to rest in the summer to be ready for the World Cup. I've never even heard of Messi, Maradona, Cristiano Ronaldo saying a year before the World Cup, nah, I'm going to rest so that I'm fresh for the World Cup next year. Anytime you
that's a shot at two people.
Yeah, that feels like what? Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa.
Yeah.
In particular. Tones, your thoughts on this particular side of the conversation with entitlement?
Yeah, I think you used the word entitlement, right? We looked at the first, I don't know if it was the first press conference or that first series where, no matter whether it was Pochettino that came in or anyone else, they were going to say, hey, I don't care what league you play in, you need to make the national team, right? And it sounds like words in the end. It just sounds like it's something that you're obliged to say because you're the new manager of a team. You want to give everybody hope. You want to set the tone that nobody is entitled to this thing. But how many months did we say, that these guys look comfortable, right? It was like one big, kumbaya every time they got together. And it started to show in their play a little bit, right? That they were comfortable. So Pochettino first had to make people uncomfortable, and keep it that way. And the guys that needed to be uncomfortable were the guys that probably most of us thought needed a pass or thought they had a pass in the end. I'm a little bit surprised by the taking off comment, taking a vacation comment, because he is talking pretty much to a few people, and we've picked them out, right? And so I'm surprised he went that way. But again, it's him sticking to, I'm going to challenge everybody. I don't care who you are. I'm going to challenge you to be better. And if that's the way he thinks it makes a player better or makes a person better in the end and helps his team, we're going to find out in the end. We were joking before we came on about, it's easy to do these interviews now after you come off of, 4 or 5 games where it looks a lot better. And we're right about that. But in the end, we're all going to judge this group, Mauricio Pochettino included, on one thing, right? Is if he gets the job done at the World Cup.
Yeah. Because I can imagine if we don't win that first game, or if we don't play well, maybe we get a draw. The pitchforks are coming out. So all this goodwill can go right out the window very quickly if we don't have a result in that first game. And obviously we're going to find out who that is here this week, which is pretty wild. After all this talk, hosting the World Cup, it's finally here. We're getting a little bit closer. Just to tack on a little bit more to that thing, and then we'll move on to another quote that he had, Chuck. But Mauricio Pochettino also said at the end of the quote that we showed here on the YouTubes, even the media fans were justifying that rationale, that culture, right? Oh, we should let somebody, I'm now paraphrasing, we should let somebody have the time off so they can be fresh for the World Cup. And I'm going back to Mauricio Pochettino. He said, elsewhere, it's team first, not player first. We've got to get that here in the U.S. as well. This doesn't go for the player posture, but for the media and fans as well.
But here's the thing. It's case by case for me. That's a general blanket statement, which to me is that's what you want. But let's go back to Christian Pulisic's situation in the sense that he got through a tough season, a couple of different changes, managerial changes. You're saying, okay, what does this look like in the summer with a new manager who is known for having a strict point of view? He's very, not really one for players to miss, whether it's preseason or practices or training, whatever it is. And so if your Christian is asking for whatever reason, I'm sure there's a number of reasons, mental break, fatigue, yada, yada, that I need this. I cannot afford to come into a Gold Cup camp and drag myself through it, similar to what Tyler Adams did, where Tyler even said, I couldn't even perform anywhere near my best, but I just wanted to be there, drag myself through it. But to go to a new manager and then risk injury or risk just being burnt out, whatever it is, what's the benefit to that? And for me, I'd still stand on, if Christian Pulisic needed a break, he's been playing for a number of years now with the U.S. men's national team. He's at Milan. He's performing. That's not a player you really have to worry about. And if your best attacking player is saying, "Hey, coach, I'm committed to the team, but I just need a break," then you say, "Guess what? I'll give you the break. You earned it." Now, if you're telling me Yunus Musa, who we all know Mauricio Pochettino, when he first took over, he was playing Musa as a right attacking midfield, right forward, right? And we were all saying, that's not Yunus Musa's position. But Pochettino kept saying, I got to find a way to play him. He's such a gifted player. I knew him from the Arsenal days. So you're starting to say, okay, Mauricio Pochettino, this is one of his favorite players. Now look at what has happened since. He declined to come into the camp in the summer, and it wasn't due to a lack of minutes or too many minutes. He wasn't playing enough. Said he wanted to spend time with his family and rest. And he went from being Mauricio's favorite player, or one of them, to now he basically abandoned the national team in the summer, made a move from Milan to Atalanta, which is a mind-blowing move because he went to a place where he wasn't needed, and now he's not playing and he's out of the picture altogether. So think about that. So I think there's a balance, and case by case, Yunus Musa should have been there. He should have been in Gold Cup. Whereas Christian, look, he's dealing with injuries now, a little here, a little there. I still think he deserved that break if that's what he needed.
No, yeah, I agree with you. I think case by case, you do have to take it. You don't really know what's going on with everybody, including Yunus Musa, right? There could have been something bigger that we're unaware of. But yeah, I think I agree with you on that. Okay, a couple other quotes from Mauricio Pochettino. One was when he's assessing U.S. men's national team players, he said, there are players who we, the technical staff, fell in love with and others we became disappointed in. Every player is unique and must be analyzed as such. So, Chuck, to your point, right? That's him saying case by case. He also had another one about the World Cup objective. The goal is to win the World Cup. If one doesn't think that way, what's the point? He also added this. For me, it's about winning. If you don't win, what does it matter? If you were second, nobody ever remembers. I'm going to jump in here and say, pretty sure everybody remembers that the Dutch have been second in 3 World Cup finals. New England Revolution have yet to win. MLS Cup.
Hey,
Buffalo Bills.
Keep my name out your damn mouth.
Hey, people remember who gets second if you do
Jimmy,
it consistently, because you are consistently the first
out
loser.
Your funny
You're the
mouth.
first loser. So I will take exception to that a little bit. But obviously, he said, what's the point? What does it matter? We have to go out there and try to win. I love the mindset. No issue there. Here's one, though, for you, Tones, that I think is interesting. Pochettino said, on being disrespected, this is his quote, people lose perspective and show a lack of respect for those with expertise. To boot, pro-American soccer coaches also demonstrated this lack of respect to me. So what I find a little bit interesting is it feels like when Mauricio Pochettino addresses the U.S. media, and when it comes to any type of criticism, like we can't question what he does. But if he was managing, because he knows more than we do. But if he and that is probably true. But if he was in Argentina and or any other national team and they weren't doing well and had a string of what we saw over the first half of this year, I'm pretty sure he would be criticized. And he's asking us and our culture to be more of a footballing nation, right? Well, what do they do in football nations? They criticize the shit out of their national team or teams at any level if they're not playing well. And so all of a sudden we want to start to tiptoe into that and like, no. So I feel like either I'm not understanding, it's not being translated the right way, or there's a bit of a contradiction that I'm having a tough time grasping.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed it. I don't even know what to add, but that was the first thought that came to my mind. That like I'm like, holy cow, this is like the most forgiving environment that he's ever been in. I mean, what was it easy at PSG? Was it easy at Tottenham? Like I don't get it, right? And maybe he is settled into, hey, it's going to be a little bit easier being here. I'm not going to be nearly as criticized as I was. And at the end of the day, like, what are we supposed to do? I mean, could we possibly, I mean, when you go back to, what was it? March was the Nations League last year, right? And then after that was the goal. Could you possibly come out of that and go,
yeah, everything looks okay. We're going to be all right. Like we were going like, what the hell was that? Like that. Okay, you lose a game, it's one thing, but the way that we went about those two games, there's no way anybody could come out of that and go, yeah, I see the vision. He may have seen the vision. He may have gotten, maybe that's what opened his eyes to what the vision should be, but there's no way like that part shouldn't be criticized. And you're the manager of a team, every manager that takes a job knows that when it falls, you're the first guy to fall more often than not, right? It's your responsibility to get guys on the same page. And we had an expectation for this team. We're starting to see it now. But as far as criticizing him and those teams before, I at least on this show, I have no problem with how we evaluated that stuff. And I don't think he's talking directly to us, but
no.
But in general, it's when you play like that, you're going to get criticized. When you play like you do against Uruguay and this last two windows, you should get some praise for that. And it's exactly what we did. I don't think, but I maybe I'm missing one or two guys, but I don't feel like the media in general has been any more harsh than they should have been or given any more credit than they should have given in these camps. I feel like everybody's been pretty fair to the national team.
Yeah, I would also add that, remember, it wasn't until Pochettino changed the formation, really, that we started
after listening to our show, by the way, because clearly we've been pushing.
Sure, that's why.
He
was on the bench, Charlie, going, "Hey, you hear what they said on Call It What You Want? Well, we can do that right now,
baby. Back
30 minutes left here.
That was the big change. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't until he went to the back three, and then you could see how flexible you can play with a back three, and also empowering your wing backs where you have speed there to get forward, to support, to use width, but also in the midfield you got the box. It gives more support to the 9. Now we're starting to see, okay, it was once that happened, he was able to unlock the potential and the talent that he has within that roster. So remember, I think we were more than fair when it came to how Mauricio Pochettino, we gave him some leeway, but at the same time we thought, hey, you got a year. This isn't a we're going to continue to do trial and error until June and say, okay, here's our team. So we needed him to pick up the pace in deciding what this identity is. And he felt he needed to fix the culture part, the mentality part before the footballing part. But I think they can go hand in hand. Like there's a balance. And I think he overplayed the culture part, but then essentially the tactics and the playing part came up with the mentality part. And now I think we're in a great spot.
I agree. We're 100% in a great spot. All right, let's get into the U.S. Soccer Male Player of the Year. Here are the 5 nominees. If you haven't seen or heard it already, we have Max Arfston. Congrats to him making it into the final 5. Alex Freeman also making it in. Matt Freese, Chris Richards, and Malik Tillman. Now, Max Arfston leads the list with the most appearances, 16 matches. He had 1 goal, obviously grew a lot. Hadn't even played for the national team prior to 2025. Alex Freeman, 13 matches, 2 goals, obviously excellent against Uruguay. So if you have some recency bias, you're thinking Freeman, probably a strong challenger for this. Matt Freese has been designated as our number 1 as of right now, continues to get the trust from Mauricio Pochettino. Not a big surprise to see him here as one of the finalists. Chris Richards, 12 matches, 2 goals, played in all these games, played in the Gold Cup, was the captain. I'm feeling like he might be the slight favorite here. The Malik Tillman, 9 matches, 3 goals, another player that played through the Gold Cup. Now, you're probably wondering, why isn't Christian Pulisic on this list? He hasn't scored any goals, I believe, in the calendar year.
No, one assist. 6 matches in 2025, 4 starts, and 1 assist.
Okay, okay. Well,
you might also add Tyler Adams, who had 10 matches played. Obviously not his best for the most part with the national team in this period, but you can see with Bournemouth on the other side, he's playing. So now, you're trying to say, how much leeway do you give to how some of these players are performing for the club versus their country? And it seems like now they're focusing on national team performances.
Yeah,
and not only that, minutes played and starts. And so I think that's why why we're seeing the change.
Yeah, some of what we're seeing here from U.S. Soccer, the fan vote will account for 15% of the overall vote tally, with the rest coming from national team players that earned a cap in 2025, professional league coaches, media, U.S. Soccer Board of Directors, and the Athletes Council. And then, most importantly, all Player of the Year finalists were selected based on performance in 2025, with emphasis placed on play with their respective national team. So I'm curious what everybody's going to think here in our community as to who should be the U.S. Soccer Male Player of the Year. Now, before I throw it to you, Big Tones, to get your vote, I thought it was interesting that in 2017, that's when Christian Pulisic won his first ever Male Player of the Year. He's won it 4 times alongside Landon Donovan, who's also won it 4 times. Then it was Zach Steffen in 2018. Christian won it again in 2019. Then Weston McKennie in 2020. Then Christian again in 2021. Tyler Adams in 2022. Then Christian again in 2023. Jedi Robinson was last year. So it just looked like, oh, Christian's going to be the guy once again, but obviously he doesn't have the numbers to back that up, wearing the red, white, and blue. Who do you like, Big Tones? Who's your? I'm leaning towards Chris Richards, but I've got center back bias. Where are you leaning?
Yeah, I guess I have center back bias too. Then in the end, because
I would have said certainly Matt Freese, Tony, for you as a goalkeeper. He's played.
Yeah,
I
think when I look at those 5 guys, and I think who's had the best year, Chris Richards for me. On the field, off the field, guys become a leader for the national team. If you're going to emphasize what's happened with the national team, he's been our most dominant center back, in my opinion. I think we all kind of agreed on that for a while now. So, yeah, I would go Matt Freese. If I had to go second in there, oh, boy, I'd have to think. I might go, because of the Gold Cup, I might go Malik Tillman. Because of the cold. Those would be my first 2 in that, and Matt Freese would probably be after that.
All right, how about you, Chuck?
Chris Richards won.
Yeah, baby, let's go. Soder Bucks.
Why not Matt Freese? Come on, Matt Freese.
Because I'm going player on the national team and player with the club, and he's excelled. He's excelled beyond belief with Crystal Palace, and he's been a staple at Crystal Palace. And not only that, Crystal Palace have been good. And so for me, his performances with the national team, just in terms of his maturity and the way he carries himself and you know, his consistency, for me, he deserves the award, given how he's embodied what you'd want from a U.S. men's national team senior player right now for this year. So that's where I would give him his flowers. But for Matt Freese to come out of nowhere to be now the starting goalkeeper for the U.S. men's national team, and he's been consistent and solid throughout until the playoffs against Inter Miami. But essentially, you know, he's done a pretty good job to be there. And then Malik Tillman, it's almost like too soon, not enough. Like we've gotten a little taste, but it's just, it hasn't been enough.
Just have a big World Cup in the summer. It's fine.
Yeah.
He can win it next year. All right,
but
last center back.
Tillman, he won Player of the Year in his league too. So if you're going to add that in, that's pretty good.
That is true. He was the Eredivisie Player of the Year.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously made a big move to Bayer Leverkusen. That is a pretty big deal. I'm glad you threw that in. But I'm still going with Chris Richards. The last center back to win the U.S. Male Soccer Player of the Year was Oguchi Onyewu in 2006. That's a fun fact for everybody. All right, we're taking our first break and call what you want. When we come back, we're going to get into the World Cup draw. So keep it right here.
Ooh.
The clock never stops. Relive the greatest moments with uninterrupted highlights and more.
It's Gareth Bale! Ronaldo! Wonderful goal!
On the UEFA Champions League channel. Streaming free.
All right, welcome back in to Call It What It Is. I'm Jimmy Conrad alongside Charlie Davies and Tony Meola. And before we get anywhere, we got to throw it back to 1994 when our very own Tony Meola was at the World Cup draw. And if we could just take a moment to marvel at Big Tones and his hair. Tones, you had it all working, baby. I know there were some.
I almost got in trouble in this.
Why? What
happened?
happened?
In trouble.
Why? Look at that.
Because you were supposed to lift the ball way up in the air when you walked, and I had it down here, and there were like 3 guys behind like this, like lift the ball up. No, I put my hand up.
Oh, so that's Roger Milla, right?
Roger Milla, yeah, great,
Yeah, wow.
great, what a great guy. Van Basten was there.
Well, who else were you hanging out with? There were some big names in this thing.
Yeah, the guy Eusebio was there.
Oh,
the
man.
guy,
What a dream.
Mario Andretti was
All right,
unbelievable.
let's see.
Uh-oh.
Hey, get that ball up. Hey,
Higher,
get it.
higher.
Yeah.
Keep
Hey,
going.
They were like,
hey,
yeah.
Higher.
See,
yeah.
you see, Sepp
Seth
Yeah.
said, hey, keep that thing high.
Yeah.
keep that
Sepp
thing up.
Blatter.
It was like I was hiding something on national TV.
Wow.
But yeah, so it was, Carol Alt was there. Evander Holyfield was great.
That's great.
I gotta
Robin
ask-
Williams.
Robin Williams.
I gotta
Yeah.
ask Tones. So it's 1994. You already played in your first World Cup in 90 in Italy, right? So now you're here at the draw. You see all these celebrities. You're seeing some of the top footballers in the world. You get to the draw and you see Colombia being pulled out. You see Romania being pulled out, and then Switzerland. What was running through your mind?
The thing that was going through my mind most, we had played all three of those teams, Colombia, like 6 times leading up to the World Cup. So we were familiar with those teams. And Colombia was a team we couldn't get by, and they were one of the favorites. It was the one team in the group you thought, okay, you just got to keep that game close, right? That's the one you can't get blown out in. But there's apparently, I mean, there's a video of our friends, Kobe and Alexi and talking to Landon and Stu Holden recently about this controversy. See, I was on stage, so I didn't know what was going on behind stage, but apparently Colombia wasn't supposed to be in our group. And when that got drawn, Alan Rothenberg, who was the president of U.S. Soccer, and of course, this was his baby. The World Cup draw was his event. No one had ever seen stars on stage. This was so American. Now it looks like, it's supposed to be that way. And I always think they can do these things in 10 minutes, but we got to sit through 2 hours of the show. But
I can't wait.
But this was the first time this was ever done. And he apparently was pissed behind the scenes, from what I'm gathering. And he's there. We pulled up some quotes earlier from Alan Rothenberg and how this all went down, but they were not supposed to be in our group.
Why were they not supposed to be in the group?
Because of the way the ranking system went. And remember, Colombia was ranked, I don't know, I think they were in the top. Some people picked them to win the World Cup during that time. So they were pretty high. But there was no computer system. Now you wouldn't make that mistake because there's a computer that says,
mistake.
Jimmy, you can't play this. Charlie, you can't play this guy because he's in your region, or he was in it. We're seeing now with the playoffs, you can't play certain teams. And I know you're going to go through it, but there was none of that. It was they knew all the things, but there wasn't anyone to really tell them. So when it came out, Sepp Blatter just boom, Colombia in that group, and I think it was Group 6, right? We were in the
but he could have technically put him in the first group. Sorry, we're going back to old stuff.
Right.
Here. He could have been with Germany. We could have had Bolivia in our group. Now we famously beat Colombia anyway, so it all worked out.
Yeah. So it's kind of a weird thing that happened. That wouldn't happen now, I guess. Well, I suppose you never know. They can do whatever they want.
Well, was Sepp Blatter involved or not involved? Yeah, I don't know. We don't need to go down that rabbit hole. Okay, here's the details. Here's the details of the World Cup draw that's happening on Friday. It's going to start at 12 p.m. Eastern, to Tony's point. A lot of pageantry involved, so we'll see how long it takes. It's going to be in D.C. And Chuck, you're going down, right? So that should be very cool.
I am so excited. I can tell you right now. For me, it's the dream. I'm getting a little bit closer to being involved, around the World Cup, and it's going to be on home soil. All the legends that are going to be there, the excitement, seeing who the U.S. get paired with, just so excited.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I'm actually going to be in Kansas City hosting a big World Cup draw event at the Power and Light District. So,
are you going to be in a tuxedo or what?
I might have to put on a tuxedo now that the challenge feels like it's been thrown here.
I feel like bow tie.
I have the whole getup. Don't even worry. But I might have to do that. It's going to be outside, and it's going to be really cold in Kansas City.
Ooh.
Giving away 1,000 scarves, so people come out and hang out with us. Me and Nate Bacchietti are going to be hanging out and doing.
I'll tell you one thing: you're not going to look as good as Tony Meola. That's for damn sure.
I feel that
grow your hair quick. You better grow the hair quick.
All right, you can also watch us on FIFA.com or on FIFA's YouTube channel. There's a lot of different ways you can watch this event. All right, so here's how it works. We've got 48 teams competing in this competition for the very first time. There'll be 12 groups of 4. Remember when they were talking about 16 groups of 3? Yeah. Also, there's going to be a World Cup draw show on the Golazo Network starting at noon on Friday, too. Make sure you tune in for that. Now, there's going to be 4 pots, okay? And everything's going to be based on FIFA rankings as of November/December of 2025. The 3 host countries, us, Canada, and Mexico, will be in pot 1 with the highest ranked FIFA teams. Now, teams will be randomly drawn from each pot and assigned to one of the 12 groups, except for us. We've already been predetermined. We are going to be in Group D, I believe. And then Mexico and Canada are in A and B. They can correct me if I'm wrong here in our private chat. The first game of the World Cup is going to be taking place at Estadio Azteca in Mexico City on June 11th. Canada will play Canada's in Group B and we're in Group D. And then we're going to be playing on June 12th. So that'll be fun. The highest ranked teams right now of the 4, which probably will stay the same. Spain is number 1, Argentina is 2, France is 3, and England is 4. They're all going to be positioned in groups in opposite pathways. This means that the 2 highest ranked nations cannot meet until the final, should they win the group. Of course, that is very important distinction, but they could face the 3rd or 4th best ranked teams in the semis. So a little bit of jostling there to make sure that the top ranked teams don't face each other too early in the tournament. They're going to be 8 of the 12 best 3rd place teams in the groups will advance to the new round of 32. Now you need 8. Before you had to have 7 games to win the tournament. Now you need 8 with the addition of the round of 32. And man, this is going to be a hell of a tournament. I'm actually really excited about it.
Hell of a tournament.
Let's get into the pots though. Okay. Cause this is where I think everybody wants to know a little bit more. So in pot 1, it's our 3 hosts. As I mentioned, Spain, Argentina, France, England. In addition to that, you'll have Brazil, Portugal, Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany. Okay, that's a really solid pot 1. From the lowest ranking FIFA team, or based on the FIFA rankings, is Canada. So if you're in pots 2, 3, or 4, you're trying to angle to get Canada based on the rankings. Obviously not by emotion or how they're playing or whatever that may be. Pot 2 gets really spicy. So we're going to definitely get one of these teams in our group. Croatia, Morocco, Colombia, Uruguay, Switzerland, Japan, Senegal, Iran, South Korea, Ecuador, Austria, and Australia. Now, there's obviously a few I'd prefer for some others.
There's 3 that you don't want. That's Croatia, Morocco, Colombia. Those are the top 3. Then there's a little middle portion of that pot too.
I don't want Uruguay, Switzerland, and Japan.
Yeah, but
don't
seriously,
look great either.
Not
Ecuador.
But it's not. They're not unbeatable. So you're talking about Uruguay, Switzerland, Japan, South Korea, Senegal, Ecuador. I think that's the middle. You're
right.
All right, it's going to be a challenge. But the bottom of pot 2, Iran, Austria, and Australia, though, that's who you're hoping for.
Yes.
If you're the U.S. men's national team.
Yes. Hopefully Sepp Blatter's not rigging it so we get Colombia again, right? We need to get.
I'll be there. I'm going to be sending vibes to block it.
Make sure it happens.
Yeah,
make sure it happens, Chuck.
If I see that C come, I'm going to bat it out of the hands.
Yeah, make sure you hold it up really high so everybody can see. All right, so pot 3, the number 1 team that you definitely do not want to face is Norway with Erling Haaland. You have Panama, who are not going to be an easy out for anybody. We can't face them, so I'm not worried about that. You got Egypt, Algeria, Scotland. I wouldn't want to face them. They're going to first time in the World
Egypt
Cup
and
98.
Scotland. Norway, Egypt, Scotland. That you want to stay away from them in the pot 3. I think everyone else is.
You got Paraguay, you got Tunisia, Ivory Coast. I don't know if I'd want any piece of Ivory Coast. Uzbekistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Africa.
Yeah, give me Algeria, Saudi Arabia, Tunisia, Qatar, South Africa.
Yeah.
Oh,
I want to stay away from Ivory Coast, Norway, Egypt, and Scotland. Definitely want to stay away from them. Paraguay, having another crack at them. Well, they had a crack at us earlier. We'll see.
How fun though would it be to play Scotland with their fans?
It would be pretty cool. You're right. From an emotional standpoint, it'd be pretty rad.
Yeah.
McAllister.
Exactly. Okay, then pot 4, you got Jordan, Cape Verde, Ghana. We want to obviously avoid them for historical purposes.
We're gonna get Ghana.
Curacao. No, they can't give us Ghana. We're hosting it. Please do not do that. Haiti, New Zealand.
Isn't that automatic in the World Cup?
Yeah, I guess it maybe
automatically. Get
and
Ghana?
Then this is where it gets a little interesting. So you got 7, 8, 9, and 10 in pot 4 are all going to be the UEFA teams. The last 4 teams that qualify in UEFA, which could include Italy. And then you have the FIFA playoff qualifiers 1 and 2. So you.
Which I think is, it's obviously between Jamaica and Congo, and the other spot, Iraq, Bolivia, Suriname, and I think it's going to be Iraq or Bolivia here.
So obviously, if Jamaica goes through, we wouldn't play them. There'd be no confederations could play against each other except UEFA. So UEFA is the only confederation that allows, or in the World Cup, where you can have 2 UEFA opponents in the same group.
But we couldn't get a CONCACAF team, right? And no playoff team, I think, right? In ours. Is that right?
I believe we could get Italy in our group. We could get a UEFA team in our group.
Gotcha. Yeah, so
it's just the Italy continental playoffs.
Yeah, I mean Italy,
UEFA
Northern Ireland,
playoffs.
Wales, Bosnia.
So yeah.
Out of the UEFA playoffs, in this case, who would you rather play between Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, and Bosnia? Wales?
Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales.
Wales, Bosnia. Wales,
Um,
but I don't think Wales will qualify. out of the
Wales or
four.
Northern Ireland?
But Wales is home if Italy wins, right? And Wales wins in that first game. Italy's
Yeah,
I mean,
Italy.
Italy's such a weird team to watch.
I cannot believe Italy is in this position, by the way.
Yeah.
I can't believe Italy might be not qualifying for a World Cup for 3 straight World
Yeah.
Cups.
What about
that is
Ukraine,
rough.
Sweden, Poland, Albania?
Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, Albania. I wouldn't mind another crack at Poland after
So
they got us in
yeah.
2002.
Ukraine plays Sweden. Oof. Sweden knocked out Italy in one of these playoffs over the last 2 World Cups.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to play Sweden. No, they have Graham Potter in charge. Maybe we do want to play Sweden.
Yeah.
Got him. I absolutely got him. Okay, a couple other things for everybody to note. Who we get in pot 3. So that's the Norway, Panama, Egypt, Algeria, Scotland. That'll be our first game. Reportedly, what we're hearing, reportedly, from The Athletic, that would be our first game. So Mexico would also have their first game reportedly against pot 3. Our game 2 would be against pot 2. Okay, so that flips us back into who we're playing. That's Croatia, Morocco, Colombia,
no
Uruguay.
Croatia, Morocco, Colombia.
And then game 3, this is the interesting one. Game 3 would be against pot 4.
Yep.
And so pot 4, so that could be a game where we desperately need to win, right, to get out of our group. And hopefully it's an opponent where that we can dunk on. Not to say those are easy games, because sometimes when teams sit in a low block, we have shown that we struggle with those particular teams. So we'll have to wait and see how it all plays out. But
There's
wow,
you know,
it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
When you're looking at this, there's not too many countries where you're saying, "Oh, this is a favorable matchup. Like this is a gimme." They're all going to pose problems. All of them. I mean, pot 4, you're looking at Jordan, Cape Verde, New Zealand. You know, you might get Iraq or Bolivia or Congo. Like other than that.
Yeah.
Do you really want to play? You know, Uzbekistan, we saw them.
No, they're tough. They can be
They're
tough.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
What's the World Cup?
it's a World Cup. It should be tough, right?
Yeah, but
there's really
remember
no
a lot of
easy game.
people were saying because it expanded to 48, there's going to be teams that are in that aren't good enough. The quality is going to drop. That I'm looking at them, I'm saying I'm not seeing any 15-0 games here. there's no teams that are just going to roll over.
Yeah, remember we talked about it though. It's you talk about watered down. Some people look at CONCACAF and they're like, "Oh, it's watered down," but we can't play any CONCACAF teams. So if you're a European team, you're thinking, "Okay, I might get a break. I might play one of these CONCACAF teams that have to go through the qualifying, right?" Where you might be a South American team saying it. We don't have that advantage because our extra game could be a European team, right? In the end, which none of them are going to be easy to play against, right? There could be a South American team in the end. So I suppose for some nations you could say, "Oh yeah, it might be a little bit watered down," but we don't benefit from that, right?
People are praying for Panama. I'll tell you that in pot 3.
Yeah,
So,
right.
Yeah,
right,
that's what I'm saying. But that's right. But if you're a European team, like, oh, that's a team I want. But in our case, we don't get to play those teams.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that we want to play Panama. It's gone over the last couple years. But
they're
give
the
them to
Ghana
me
of CONCACAF.
Yeah. Give them to me in the next round. We'll take our chances. But that's my point. It's like we don't really benefit from the 48 teams in the World Cup, right? We don't see that. But hey, it should never be easy, man.
Yeah, there are some scary possibilities. We see one here from Simon who says U.S., Senegal, Norway, Sweden.
I'd take that.
Would be crazy.
I would take that. It'd be cool. I'd take it.
It'd be cool, but I'd
cool.
take something easier.
No, but I would take that.
I honestly, we got to avoid Croatia, Morocco, and Colombia in pot 2.
If you told me that versus a Colombia, Croatia, Morocco, and then in Egypt and then a Ghana, I will take that all day.
Yeah, we have beaten Ghana the last 3 straight times we've played them, but still, there's just this history of them. Honestly, in pot 3, if we can avoid Norway, I don't even mind Egypt at this point. Like Norway, they're the only one. Maybe Egypt. Yeah, maybe Egypt I'd want to avoid. No, Ivory Coast. Sorry. Norway and Ivory Coast for me. We absolutely have to avoid them in pot 3. That'll be the first game of the tournament for us in LA at SoFi on June 12th. I'll take on Tunisia, Uzbekistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, South Africa. I'll even take on the Scots. No problem. Even though that would be their first game. I don't know if I'd want to take on the Scots now that you say that. And you brought it up, Tones. Because that's the first game that they'll be back.
You don't want to play
so
anybody? You don't want to play anybody?
Wait, let's just go to the next round. Forget it.
Yeah.
We're not going to play. We're going.
No, I said Norway. I want to avoid Norway, Scotland, and Ivory.
All right, who do you give me? What's your best? Your ideal? Your top 2, 3, and 4. Who do you got?
I want to play Austria. If we're gonna play, we're gonna have to play one European.
You'd rather play Austria over Australia.
Okay, yeah, I'd take Australia.
You said Austria. No,
okay.
Stick with Austria.
Well, Austria. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
We'll stick with Austria.
Mm-hmm.
I will take Qatar in pot 3.
Mm-hmm.
And in pot 4, I'll take Cape Verde. No problem. I'll take the Kiwis too. New Zealand. That would be okay. Yeah, I don't know if you had Australia, you couldn't take on New Zealand, so that would be. I don't know. What about you, Chuck? What are you saying? That'd be a pretty
Australia in pot 2 for me. I would take.
Yeah, I'm going Australia all day. Pot 2. Pot 3. I'm probably gonna go with South Africa.
Okay.
And pot 4. Give me Jordan.
All right.
Yeah, I'm going to go Australia, Saudi Arabia, and I don't know much about Cape Verde or Jordan, although I saw Cape Verde and what they did. That's where I'm going to go. Yeah, Cape Verde.
Okay. We're being told by Ivis it's Cabo Verde. So.
But we had Steven Moreira on the morning show, and we asked him this. Mm-hmm. We asked him this. He plays for the nation, and he didn't even know about Cabo Verde.
Woo!
Cabo Verde. He said it to us on morning.
Big Toast 1, Ivis 0.
Big Tony just
slapped. He said
Ivis. Didn't say Cabo. He said Cape Verde. We went through this.
Ivis just got slapped by Tony.
No, he didn't.
I'm
going Cape Verde because that's what Moreira. Said to me. He plays for the national team, so
yeah. Ivis just got sat down. Oh, what a win for Tones.
All right, we got Kenyon saying Australia, South Africa, New Zealand is possible. I guess because Australia is in the Asian Confederation now, so I guess it is possible. Thank you for the heads up on that. I would take that group. I would absolutely take that group. All right, as a reminder, Friday, December 5th at 12 p.m. Eastern, that is all kicking off. We're going to have a special recap show for you on Friday, so make sure you turn on notifications to make that happen. You can watch it all live on the Golazo Network. They're going to have a FIFA show, a FIFA draw show, and Chuck will be in D.C. I'll be in Kansas City. Tones, you're going to be sitting in your pajamas watching at home, or what? What's happening?
Oh, yeah, I'm going to be right here. Yeah.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, we're going to be live at 3 p.m. Eastern, so you'll get to see Tones. Then I'll be in Kansas City, and again, Chuck will be in D.C. It should be a lot of fun. All right, we're taking our last break. Call what you want. When we come back, we're going to talk about Americans abroad and maybe some of the players who weren't in the last camp who have picked up their game. So don't go anywhere.
This is European soccer's biggest stage.
Written in the stars. What a difference she has made.
The question is, can you handle it? The crowd here feels electric. Stream every match of the UEFA Women's Champions League on Paramount+.
Yes, welcome back in to your favorite Average Good podcast. Call it what you want. I'm Conrad Dino alongside Chuck, Chase, and Chuck and Big Tones. And let's get into Americans abroad because we had some pretty cool performances. Tyler Adams scored the second goal of the season for him in a 3-2 loss versus Sunderland. Bournemouth were up 2-0. His goal was pretty close to midfield. He chipped the goalkeeper. Hell of a play. Reminded me of Michael Bradley's goal against Mexico way back when at Estadio Azteca. Ricardo Pepi got a start. Finally started. Guess what he did? He got a goal and an assist. I thought he was excellent, especially in the first half in PSV's 3-0 win over Volendam. Patrick Agyemang scored the first goal of the game in Derby County's 2-1 loss versus Middlesbrough. Unfortunate for them, but he made a good run off the back shoulder of the center back, got in behind, and a very well-taken goal. More of that, please, from Patrick Agyemang. Mark McKenzie delivered a game-tying assist in Toulouse's 2-2, very exciting 2-2 draw versus Marseille. He got the assist off of a long throw, and at the very end of the game to make that 2-2. So maybe we can utilize that long throw in the World Cup. We'll have to wait and see. Tanner Tessman played center back for Lyon versus Nantes. It was a 3-0 win for Nantes, and Nantes had a red card in that game, so maybe that skewers it a little bit. But Tanner Tessman playing a little center back, potentially demonstrating that he could be of use to us in a couple different ways. I do think he's already a lock for the team, but it doesn't hurt that he can hold his own at a high level in a different position. Who stood out for you? Chuck, coming to you first, resident number 9.
Well, one of the names missing from that list is Valérien Balogun, starting for Monaco, and as they took down PSG, winning 1-0.
He was very good.
He was very good in his movement and his timing. I mean, he had an incredible pass to Minamino, who missed a volley in this first half.
Hey,
but
I loved that pass. I watched it. I went and rewound it. I got to see this over. I mean, just his timing, just the touch. Anyway, inject that straight into my veins. Keep going.
And then I saw a lot from him in terms of just his positioning, his movement. So I was really pleased with his performance, even though he didn't get on the score sheet. And he nearly had one. He didn't check his shoulder on a beautiful cross. He took a first touch, and I think it was
Hernandez that came back in.
Lucas Hernandez. But I think Tyler Adams is the one who would stand out for me out of all the players. I mean, he's always consistently played for Bournemouth, but we've always said, hey, can he do a little bit more if he's able to have this free roll and press high and win the ball? Can we see more assists? Can we see some goals? And for him to have that IQ, to see the recognition of the keeper out, but also to take the chance to say, I have the confidence in myself to put this on target, to make the right decision here and to pull it off. Top from Tyler Adams. So I'm really pumped for my guy Tyler.
All right, that's a good shout. Unfortunately, it was a loss for them, but he's doing some things now and looking to play forward. I love when he's on the hunt. I just love his awareness overall. Big Tones, how about you? I do think we need to give flowers to Alex Zendejas. I thought he was probably the best player on the field in La Liga, the playoffs in Liga MX. In Club America's 2-1 win versus Monterrey. However, it was over 2 legs. Monterrey got the goal late and ultimately are going through, and Club America is now done in the playoffs. But he had a goal. He's basically set up the second one as well with a nice wavy run, little in, back, and through. Good combination play. Got it to the back post. Ultimately got there off a deflection, and that made it 2-0 at the time, and they were in cruise control. They actually had a goal, Club America, that I thought was really close to being onside. I mean, it was honestly, it was like the guy's nose that was offside, and they called it, and that would have probably set Club America through. But who stood out for you, Big Tones?
Yeah, the interesting one for me is the Tanner Tessman one, right? They play with 3 in the back. He really didn't step into the midfield all that much. The red card happened just before halftime. They completely dominated the ball. They were down. I think they play with 3. They were down 3 center backs. But he played ahead of Maitland-Niles, who's there, the ex-Arsenal player. So he played ahead of him. I don't know if Maitland-Niles plays more as a wing back for them or more as a center back, but that's an interesting one. I would think his big advantage is his passing ability, right? Like especially when they were a man up and he could spray the ball all over the place. A pretty good chart right there. So that stood out to me as a possibility. He's not played there before, from my understanding, and if he has, it's been limited. So if we need him in a pinch, that's good to know that he can do that. Look, any guy that can double in positions. I don't know that I would play him with 2 center backs. Play him there as much as you would think about playing him with 3. So that one stood out to me for sure. And the other one's Ricardo Pepi. I think silently he just kind of does his business, right? Just kind of takes care of what he can take care of, and he's still going to push to be the number 1 forward. I mean, Balogun is going to be the guy, but if you're Ricardo Pepi, you got to be thinking, I need to continue to score goals. I need to stay sharp. You give him opportunities, and the guy scores goals. And it's nice to see Ajiman, his little run, the finish, powerful. That's the dynamic. That's the different dynamic that I think he has to show if he has any chance of making this World Cup team. He has to show something different than Pepi and Balogun to make this team.
Yeah, what I love about your description about Ricardo Pepi, him doing things quietly, but always doing his job and doing it well. The guy scored a bike. He scored a bicycle kick at the back post. And didn't even really celebrate. He's just like, yeah, it's just my job. I was like, all right, if I would have scored that, geez, I would never let anybody forget about it for like the next 20 years, right? But he's just like, just shrugs it off. Pretty remarkable. But yeah, he does. He's quiet and goes about his business and gets the job done. And yeah, to your point, he's got to keep that up. I want to go back to Tyler Adams' goal, though, Chuck. Is that the best goal we've ever seen from an American in the Premier League? Because
no, I mean,
obviously, okay, we got to.
No, you guys are you're absolutely you're shitting on Brian McBride. By the way, you're absolutely shitting on Brian McBride.
I'm not.
And Clint must have scored some goals.
And you're and Deuce. I mean, how can you leave out Clint?
I'm not saying.
McBride
it's a question.
No.
It wasn't a question. It was a question.
No, you were trying to lead the witness here.
Then name the goals. Name the goals.
Yeah, that Clint Dempsey goal against Stoke right there. Mike.
That might be up there. Yeah, Dempsey hit one off the bounce that caught the goalkeeper out from like 20. It was up over his head, bounces, volley up over the goalkeeper.
The Juve goal
Tim Howard, by the way.
The Juve goal doesn't count because it was in.
Yeah, it's got to be a goal in the Premier League. Now
Yeah.
I know Bees scored a couple good goals. DeMarcus Beasley for Man City. I know he scored against Arsenal. And I believe he had a good one where he kind of burst through Jonathan Spector. Was it on Aston Villa? That was a good goal from Bees, but I don't know. I mean, chipping a goalkeeper from midfield, Tones is. I mean,
if you're going to talk about beating a goalkeeper from distance, how do you leave Tim Howard out? Or was that a cup game?
I think it was a Premier League game.
I think it was a Premier League game.
I mean, that was wind. That was wind assisted.
So what we're talking about?
It was against Bolton. It was against
wind and water. I mean, assisted. That skip was crazy.
He took advantage of the conditions.
He knew exactly what he was doing.
What he was doing.
That's another person. Tim Howard didn't celebrate, by the way, after scoring that. Probably because he felt bad for the goalkeeper, knowing how that.
You see a lot of Brad Friedel shouts too. By the way,
did Friedel do it too? Did Friedel?
I don't know. So.
And then. Who else has had good goals? So obviously, Christian has scored. Remember, he had that mazy run against Man City, kind of read a miscommunication and then scored. That was during COVID, so maybe didn't feel as big because there was no fans in the stands.
Yeah, look at you trying to just lead with Tyler Adams having the best goal ever scored in the Premier League.
I mean, that's
I'm just watching McBride's bicycle kick. I just watch. It's not a great bicycle kick, but it's still a bicycle.
Yeah,
kick.
McBride's got some bangers. He does.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta think he's had better.
Yeah. Friedel actually scored a goal. It was from 10, 15 yards out because he went up to on a corner and on a set piece and he scored. So I don't know. Tim's is cooler than that, I would say. But Tyler's is what? Got to be top 3, Chuck. Would you give it top 3? Top 5? Top 5.
Top 5 for
top
sure.
5. Okay.
Top
All right.
Christian's run during COVID.
Yeah. I mentioned that. That was tasty and a really, really good clean finish too. I mean, he put it like the right amount of spin on it.
Just watching that video though, with no one in the stands, just looks weird, man.
It's a crime. It's a crime.
Yeah.
I always said Christian against Liverpool. When he was during COVID Christian with Chelsea, my man was on another level. He was on another level. But
wait.
Clint's got some great ones for Fulham.
Clint's got 2. The free kick, and who's this volley from like?
That's against Stoke.
Beating the goal. That's the Stoke one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's probably number 1.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. That's a come on is all you need to hear.
Come on. Yeah, we got to go with that one, no?
Yeah, I think we have to go that one for sure. All right, let's finish up the show here. We're gonna have a special preview for it on Thursday. MLS Cup final has been set. Inter Miami 1-1 for a while in that game. NYCFC had a chance to make it 2-1. They didn't capitalize, and honestly, I feel like 30 seconds later, Inter Miami scores, and then they just run away from it. NYCFC kind of wheels fall off the truck, and they end up losing 5-1. Inter Miami now get to host MLS Cup final.
Wow. In their rinky-dink stadium.
In their rinky-dink stadium. Just going to go all in.
They're not going to the Dolphins. They're not going
anywhere else. They're playing at their rinky-dink stadium. Yep. And they're going to be taking on the Vancouver Whitecaps, who I thought were incredibly impressive going down to San Diego, going up 3-0 in the first half, doing it without their
bossed them. They bossed San Diego.
Without their MLS Defender of the Year, Tristan Blackman, who got a red card in the previous game and didn't miss a beat. Were very, very good and won that one 3-1. So it's going to be Vancouver versus Inter Miami this weekend. And I'm excited for it. I guess the big question, Tones, I'll come to you first on this one. Whose performance were you most impressed with? Was it Vancouver or was it Inter Miami?
Vancouver. I was really impressed with how balanced they were. Look, we know Inter Miami can attack; they can get forward. They were really good defensively, and they've been really good defensively in this playoff so far. But I was impressed with Vancouver. They were able to press San Diego when they wanted to. They were away from home. They did everything that they wanted to get done in the game. You mentioned the Inter Miami game. You touched on it. If not for a Rios Novos save, which would have made it 2-2, that's a really good save. They score less than, I don't know, had to be less than a minute down the other end of the field, right?
Yeah.
So that game could have flipped on its head, but credit to them, man. When they turn it on, they turn it on. And Mascherano's made the big move, right? Keeping Luis Suarez on the bench for some younger, more mobile players. But I was impressed with Vancouver. It's going to be hard, though, for Vancouver to get it done in Miami.
I mean,
what Charlie calls a rinky-dink stadium.
Equally said, though, how disappointing was San Diego?
They didn't come. They didn't show up.
They didn't show up.
No, they didn't show up.
Their back line were 6s and 7s. I mean, if it wasn't for Dua, that might have been a 7-0 game because
he's good, by the way.
Yeah, Ahmed and Sabi were cooking. Bombino and I think it was Pilcher, the right back he had probably his worst game of his career. And then they didn't let Tverskov get on the ball and dictate. Then you're saying, okay, where's the striker? You know, if Corey Baird as your starting striker.
Yeah, look, that's a storyline in and of itself, right? That whole thing. I get you got to discipline someone. But in the end, I think it hurt him. But Chucky Lozano is dangerous, man.
Yeah.
I know managers got to make decisions, and it was a tough one. And I don't know who you blame in the whole thing. Probably Chucky Lozano more than Mikey Varis. But at some point, you got to realize, like in this moment, you need guys that are. Corey Baird's been a good servant to the league. He was good in Houston. He's been good here, but
now he's not a starter.
In this moment,
he's not a starter in this league at the highest level. He's just not.
Yeah, in this moment, you needed Chucky Lozano in the game for me. But again, you live by those decisions, right? And then you get to either get criticized for them in the end, or you get applauded for them if they work out. So this one I didn't think worked out in this moment.
And this was probably Dreyer's worst moment in Major League Soccer so far in terms of form, because we've seen how good he can be.
He was sick though, right? This was his Michael Jordan Game 6.
Yeah,
flu game.
he looked like a ghost.
He just didn't play. He didn't play like Jordan in Game 6.
No.
In that one, but yeah, he didn't have the impact that he wanted. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Everybody listening, watching, Tony and Chuck and Ivis and Des and everybody and Avi behind the scenes. Messi doesn't lose in cup finals. Is that right? Like has outside of his national team,
except for the one against Thomas Mueller, right, in the World Cup 2014.
Okay,
Mueller beat him. Yeah,
national team, club. I'm talking club. Has he lost in a final at the club level? He had to have lost somewhere at some point. But the guy's track record. Oh, he lost in the Leagues Cup final. That's right.
The Leagues Cup here, right?
And he should have scored in that game. He had a sitter. That would have made it 2-1. I remember.
So why are you throwing out those statements if you just got?
Well, no, I'm not.
Ivis was quick to come at you.
Well, of course.
Cabo
Verde.
Hey,
he's always trying to shut me down. It's fine.
He's ready. Cabo Verde. He said, "All right, I'm gonna come back for you."
yeah. That was Tones. It wasn't me. I threw it out there knowing I was going to get shut down because I didn't know for sure. But what I'm saying is that Leo Messi obviously is tremendous in cup finals throughout his career. And given the fact that Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets have announced their retirement, he's going to want to send them on the highest note possible. And that's going to be winning this trophy before they retire. So do you think Suarez retires now?
That's a good question, man.
I think that if they win
when you're sitting there, if you're Luis Suarez and all of a sudden Mascherano moves on from you and you've been the starting striker, of course your resume and your history, but you've been the starting striker this year. Now all of a sudden you're watching younger players, Solvetti and Allende in particular, coming in and killing it. It's more about their movement and their work rate.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, we're starting to have all the success and I'm sitting on the bench. Now, he's the only one who hasn't said, hey, what's his plan next year? But you would have to think at this point, you're not going to stick around.
Yeah. No, that's something we can talk about in our preview on Thursday. I should mention, though, Thomas Muller playing for Vancouver Whitecaps, been there for 4 months. Obviously, he has injected a new life into them. They were good before that, but he's made them better. He's 7-3 all time against Messi when they face off. They beat him in a World Cup, got him on the 8-2 Champions League game way back. I think that was during COVID. That game, I think Suarez was playing in that game. Was he in Barcelona at that time, 2020, Leo Suarez?
I think he's with Atletico Madrid.
Was he? Yeah. Anyway, we can save some more of this for Thursday. All right, that's it. We're calling it a show. We're done. That was awesome. Lots to get into, as always, talking about Mauricio Pochettino, talking about the team, our Americans abroad, the World Cup draw, which is going to be, again, on Friday, is going to be a lot of fun, and we'll have a show for you on Thursday as well. So enjoy the rest of the week. We'll see you in a couple days. Thanks for hanging out with us. Later.